Hi there. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to make a circular weaving. For that you're going to need some type of hard surface that could be your loom. Like in this case I've used a paper plate. Or in this case I'm going to be using a piece of cardboard. What you use for your loom is totally up to you, but something kind of hard and sturdy is good. And what you're going to first do then is you're going to go around the perimeter of that shape, and you're to number 1 through 11. So what I did was 1, 6, 3, and 9, similar to a clock, and then I filled them in. So you're going to be going around the perimeter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, not 12 like a clock. And then what I did after that was I made little cuts at every single one of those things. So all of these places have a little cut at them. Then what I'm going to do with any kind of string that you have, you're going to start at 1. So if you don't have string like this, you could use dental floss. You could also take a plastic bag, and I have a video about making braided rope, but you could also just take a piece of plastic bag and just cut it and make a long piece of rope that way. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at 1 to make my warp, and on the back I'm either going to put a piece of tape here, or if you don't have tape, make a knot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross one over the other to make a loop, and then that loose end is going to go through my loop and pull tight to make a knot, just to give that some resistance. So now go from 1 across to 6. 6 is going to be sneaky, and behind here it's going to sneak over to 7. 7 is going to go visit 2 and say hey, because they're friends. But 2 is going to be sneaky and go visit 3 on the back. 3 is going to go visit 8. 8 is going to be sneaky and sneak over to 9. 9 is going to go visit 4. 4 is going to be sneaky and back behind us, going to go over to 5. 5 is going to go say hey to 10. And 10 is going to sneak over to 11. 11 has no one to visit. So 11 is actually going to go to the middle and go under all of the other ropes. It's going to go under all of them. Kind of like it's going between 5 and 6. So it's going under those. Under all the ropes, like it was going to 5.5. But then watch what we're going to do. We're going to go back and pull that, and see how that's bringing everybody together. And then I'm going to cross that one over 11 string and pull it through, and I'm going to pull that as tight as I can to make a knot. And one more time, over 11 through there, pull it tight, and now I have my warp ready. Then to start weaving, I need some weft. I'm going to use a plastic bag. You could use string. You could also use newspaper. I took a piece of newspaper, tore it, and then I folded it over a few times just to make it sturdier. But what I'm going to do to start is I'm going to tie whatever my weft is going to be around my number 1 string. So cross over through the loop, pull tight, trim off my extra, and then I'm going to kind of ball up my handful of weft here, and I'm going to start weaving. So I'm going to go up under over pattern. So under over over, under, and over. And one thing I would suggest as you're going is try to keep that tight. If you don't keep it tight as you go, it makes it harder to go back and tighten it. So, continuing my under and over pattern, going in my circle, and depending on how thick or thin your weft is, it's going to take longer or shorter amount of time for you to really start to see some results from this. So, since my bag is kind of thick in places, this is building up a little faster than if I was just using, say, this string. But let's say I want to change. Let's say I'm done with my blue bag and I want to switch to this newspaper for a moment. Then I can cross those over, put that one under, cross them over again, and go through to make a knot to join those together so that I can continue. For this newspaper, I folded it over and I glued it together a little bit. I'm going to trim off the extras, make the seam a little bit cleaner, and then I'll continue on my pattern like I had never changed material. So under and over. And the cool thing about changing material or changing your color is it gives you a little bit more interest than if it was only the same thing all the way. And the neat thing about this paper, I'm finding, is I like how it kind of is having to curl and turn as opposed to just laying flat. It's giving my weave a little bit more dimension than if I had just used flat string. But flat string might give you a brighter color. But what you use is up to you. But whenever you get to the size of your weaving that you like, what you're going to need to do when you're done is you can do a couple of things. One, the easiest way to do it would be to tie onto this last thing. So tie it with an overhand knot. Or if with my paper here, I could just glue it. That would work too. Another thing you could do is you could tuck it back in under itself. But then, we don't want this to stay on our loom forever. So, what I'm going to do to get it off is I'm going to go back here behind and I'm going to cut my warp. And I've seen people not cut them and just sort of pry them off and they leave these strings just kind of hanging off. But I think that doesn't look as nice. But here's what I'm going to do to make these stay so it doesn't fall apart. Is I'm going to go around and I'm going to do those knots again. So right over left and under, pull tight, left over right and under, pull tight. Those are called square knots. And I'm going to do that on all of these. So I'm going to go around in my circle, right over left and under, left over right and through. And I'm going around and doing that for all of them to join these together permanently and hold my weaving together. You could leave it permanently on your loom if you want to. Nobody says you don't have to. But I think this ends up being a nice finished step because then it's independent of it. It doesn't have to be on there forever. You can hang this up. And then you can also reuse your loom. Now I have one string here that doesn't have a friend because remember we had 11, we had an odd number. So what I'm going to do with that last one is I'm going to tie it to one that I've already done. So the one that was next to it, I'm going to tie those two together. And then I'm done. And if I want to clean up a little bit, I can trim off the extras. But there you have it. There's our round weaving off its loom. Have a great day.